Good morning. Welcome back here at ESCMID Global TV. My name is Judith Cohen. I am your host here at ESCMID Global TV, and I'm very happy that we get to speak with my next guest, no one less than Mary Horgan, who is an infectious disease specialist and president at the Royal College of Physicians in Ireland, but better known maybe as the new education director for ESCMID. So welcome, Mary. Very
Thank you very
glad to
much.
have you here.
Thank you very much, Judith.
Yeah.
Delighted to be here.
Yeah. So I would like to have a chat with you about education. Since you being the new education director, we learned this year's ESCMID Global that ESCMID is really progressing with their education. They have it high on their list of priorities moving forward as a society. So what has changed in education in general in the recent years?
I suppose the pandemic has taught us a lot how we can adapt quickly to new ways of learning, and the big desire for our society, our members in clinical microinfectious diseases, to get as much education as possible, not just in ESCMID Global, but throughout the year. We've learned new ways of providing that educational content to people, whether it's online or whether it's small groups, whether it's long courses or short courses. And we see the big desire for our members really to engage in the various types of learning that we can give them.
Because is that something that they don't find within their own institutions or organizations that they do their day jobs in? Is it something the ESCMID really needs to provide for them?
Yes, I think, everyone's busy in their day jobs, running around doing, caring for patients, doing their research. And sometimes it's good to either get away completely and go to a venue and have face-to-face teaching, but also the ability to network with your colleagues, share experiences, share research ideas and so on. So really taking time out from their busy schedule. But a lot of other people like to do it in their own time, so they want to join webinars that either are live or being pre-recorded, do it after hours or at the weekend when they feel they're away from the busyness of their job and really can focus in on education and really that continuous professional development, which is essential for us as people who work in infection, because
Absolutely.
it's such a dynamic area.
Yeah, it's quickly evolving.
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
difficult enough to stay on top of the new knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you feel it was before the pandemic? People came to ESCMID or the ECMID, formerly known as the ECMID, to the Congress once a year, and then they had some interactions with colleagues or experts in the field, and that was it?
Yeah, well, there's always been education throughout the year, but the big bang was ESCMID Global, formerly known as ECMID, where people came and had really intensive information on all aspects of infection, clinical microinfectious diseases, public health, virology, everything. So it was really concentrated. And because there's so many parallel streams, it's hard to get to everything. And what we feel is really important is that educational, I suppose, suite that we can give is sustained throughout the year, and that people can choose what they want to do. But it's not a big bang; it's a sustained educational program.
So continuity in the offerings.
Exactly.
Yeah, and well, you already mentioned with the pandemic, we were forced to adapt to new methods of education. First of all, the Congress going digital, now it's hybrid. I think that has really increased the reach or the accessibility to many different talks, because everything is still available on demand until after the Congress. Do you care to comment on other new methods of education that you feel will be the future, or that you are incorporating already as the new director of education?
Yes. So I just in that context, I think it's important that our members know that we have access to these fantastic array of subject matter experts who are more than willing to engage with the educational committee so that we can deliver really good types of education that really are what they want to hear, whether it's basic science or things that influence clinical practice and make patients' lives better. So what we are looking at, there are some things that are well in train already, but if I can divide certainly the courses that we do into long courses and then short courses. So a good example of a current course a long course that's available is the AMS course, after which you get a certificate. So it's 2 years in length, done by my colleague Jerome Shooten. And that's a really good example of that continuous education over a period of time, really building on a skill and really focusing in on people's desire to get a certificate after a course. What we will be doing is expanding that further into other areas like antimicrobial resistance. So the courses are a combination of online in addition to face-to-face. So it's a blended, what we call a blended approach to it. But we have plans currently underway and in discussion in areas like antimicrobial resistance, in emerging infections, but also in big topics like diagnostics and therapeutics, infection prevention and control. So looking at those kind of longer courses and people's desire to have a certificate. And then on the other hand, we have the shorter courses, many of which are up and running and are delivered throughout the year. But we're going to further strengthen that and really engage with our study groups to see what areas they feel are really important that their members in their particular fields need to know. We really encourage collaboration between the study groups so that we can give really high quality short courses. What do I mean by that? Well, again, face-to-face courses that are anything from 2 to 4 days on site. But also webinars or online delivery of courses. Now, I think we have to be innovative in how we deliver those, because nobody wants to sit down for a whole 8 hours and just listen to lecture after lecture. So we're developing innovation around that with e-learning, and we've got an e-learning group within our subcommittee. So it's trying to make it more interactive, trying to make it more appealing so that people will be attracted to it, not only by the topic that's delivered, but by the way in which we can deliver it in a kind of a funky, interesting, interactive way, so that we can really engage our members.
Because we know that education, it comes across better for different types of learning types, right?
Absolutely.
So you need to taper towards
different absolutely,
needs.
Judith. I think we have learners that like to learn differently, and whether that's by their own personality or by the generation, and we need to respond to that as a society.
Yeah, that's an excellent point too. The generation also is probably adding to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was really delighted to here CMI Communications are starting podcasts. So that's something that we will segue into. And I think, people like to do it if they're in the gym or just walking to work or commuting to work.
Listening
and
to podcasts.
So short podcasts with the state of the art in something like malaria treatment or new vaccines. So really exciting areas and to do it in a steady, measured way so that what we can evolve into is really high quality content. And again, I think we're really fortunate having the world's best in infection to be able to contribute to the content and do so enthusiastically.
Such a strong network, so it really facilitates a really good educational program. What do you intend the general focus of the educational portfolio for the society to be in the near future?
So in the near future, what we are really keen on doing is strengthening existing courses but also understanding what our learners want. I think many learners want just up-to-dates, so they want the state of the art in particular areas, because many of our members are general practitioners in clinical microbiology and infectious diseases, and they need to constantly keep up.
Yeah.
So we're going to focus in on some state of the art, keeping up to date, hot topics, that area. The other area we really think is important is that antimicrobial resistance, emerging infections, which really links into climate change and One Health, which are of relevance not just to us as a professional, but how we can impact and advocate for that area.
So really taking on that role as news, or for the actuality.
Exactly. I mean, we saw during the pandemic where our media, our policymakers really depended on the infection community to give good, clear communication on infections. And I think we have an opportunity as members of this large society to advocate for areas that are really important to our society, in particular climate change, One Health, so that we can make life good for us globally, not just in the high income, but lower and middle income countries also. So that's our focus, but to do it steadily, but also be innovative in how we deliver, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So it's a tremendous amount of educational activities that you've already described. Do people know where to find what they're looking for? How do they access all the information that's out there?
And I think that's a really good question, because we really need to heighten awareness, market it, but also get feedback from the courses so we can continue to tweak them. The ESCMID website is the go-to place. But also a lot of advertising through the various social media outlets that ESCMID have, in particular LinkedIn, which is the professional LinkedIn network, to really advertise what's there, be clear on what the aims and objectives of any of the educational material is, and what impact what we teach people on has in their day-to-day practice. So I think if people are thinking about starting a course, it's really important that it's not just the content, but how what they learn will influence what happens back in their frontline practice, particularly in hospitals, and how they can share that information. So I think, it will be the go-to place will be the website to get up to date and have a clear, I suppose, menu of the educational offerings, whether it's long courses, short courses, and how they're delivered either live or recorded. And so there's a lot of options for our members to continuously learn in their own time.
Yeah, well, excellent. Yeah, and I feel you or ESCMID has, as a society, and especially the Education Committee, have adapted all these new formats in order to tailor towards almost everyone's needs. So the podcast and the long courses, short courses, online, offline. There's one new format, I think, right? Because at the opening ceremony of this year's ESCMID Global, there was talk about next year's Congress.
Absolutely, and that's really exciting. And I think it's really a reflection of the Executive Committee's commitment to education. So great announcement that there would be Education Friday. So this is the Friday.
So the Congress will be expanded.
Expanded, and really with the focus on education for the first day, giving people content in a different interactive way that really will be appealing, both by how it's delivered, but also what we're going to educate. So that is something that's going to be worked on in the coming months. So it's really appealing for all members, trainees, all the generations of infection colleagues that come here to the Congress. So it's a really exciting time, and really a reflection of the commitment the society has to expanding education.
Yeah, and it must be very exciting for you to be involved in such a,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to looking how we can innovate and do things, I
yeah,
won't say experiment, but, look at different ways of delivering
yeah.
and getting feedback and then really expanding on those throughout the year too. So really good opportunity for us as education. I do have to acknowledge the people I work with in the education committee,
Absolutely.
your own Irina and Emmanuel, and all of the people. It's very much a team,
Yeah.
as well as the my colleagues in the office, Piotr, Gabrielle, and Fernanda. Really excited that we have the opportunity to expand education and sustain it throughout the year.
Wow. So much to look forward for.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for finding the time in your busy schedule here to come and
Thank you.
tell our viewers a little bit more about what's in stock for them. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for watching. And check out the ESCMID website if you're interested in more educational activities for yourself personally. We will be taking a short break here at ESCMID Global TV. We will be back at the clock of 12 with our hugely popular program element, the Lucky Wheel of Fortune. This is your last chance this year to win some really cool, great ESCMID prizes. So please join me through the QR code that will be distributed along the platform and the app, and is also everywhere distributed around the Congress. So enter and come and join me here in the chat room so I can select you and try and win a prize for you at noon. See you then.